we are going to give an overview of the speaking section so far. We have already seen the reading section and the listening section. We're seeing the sections in order. The speaking section is similar to the listening section, in which you have to take notes, and notes are pretty much the most important thing, or one of the most important things for the speaking section. It's also important because I'm only going to devote 2 videos to this. Remember, the only section that requires you to learn a lot of theory or to learn a lot of question types is the reading section. All the other sections require very little theory and a lot of practice. Okay, this is just an overview. General aspects of the speaking section. You have 4 tasks. You have 1 independent task in which you're going to provide your opinion. You have 3 integrated tasks in which you're not providing your opinion, and they are a mix of either listening plus reading or just listening. And in each task, you're going to have either 15, 20, or 30 seconds of preparations, and either 45 or 60 seconds to respond, meaning 60 seconds to talk. In total, this section is 17 minutes, and it's scored by a combination of AI and human raters, which means, yes, it will eventually be rated by a human being. Principles of the speaking section: take notes. This is the most important thing. Okay, you have to take notes. Just in the listening section, in which you have to take notes, you're gonna take notes. Another principle: only information provided exists. Remember, we have been covering this principle from the reading section, in which only the information in the text exists. Then in the listening section, only the information in the audio exists. And then in the speaking section, since there's a mix of audio and reading, only the information provided exists. Which means we do not bring our outside information to the question. Okay, whatever information we have, even if it's true in the real world, we're going to leave it aside, and we're going to only work with the information that is provided. Another principle: answer the specific question. Remember, I've been bothering you with the word specific from the reading section. It's very important to be specific. You're going to see how this is important. Again, if you could just follow this principle of answering the specific question, that's it. You shouldn't need to learn any question types, even for the reading section. If you could just follow the principle of answering the specific question and be very careful about being specific, you shouldn't have to learn any other kind of theory. But since it's not that clear what we mean when we say specific, meaning it's not that specific, we are going to develop the concept in more depth. The last principle: only give your opinion when you're asked. Okay, remember, sometimes actually only the first task is going to be about you. It's going to be about your opinion. All the other tasks are not about your opinion. There is another task, the second task, that is about someone else's opinion, but it's still not your opinion. You're just reporting what someone else thinks. Okay, so only your opinion if asked. Again, if you notice, this is a principle that pretty much follows from the previous one, from answer the specific question, which means if they don't ask for your opinion, don't give your opinion. If they do ask for your opinion, do give your opinion. But still, since it may be not so clear, or it may need to be rehearsed, then it's important to have as a principle to only give your opinion when you're asked. Okay, things to do: we're going to take notes, we're going to be specific, we're going to focus on keywords, we're going to prepare order and vocabulary. This is important. On the preparation time, sometimes you say, okay, this is my notes, I already have all my notes, and they still give you 15 or 20 or 30 seconds to prepare. And you kind of think of, okay, why do I need my 30 seconds to prepare if I already have all my notes? Well, what you're doing is you're going to prepare what you're about to say. So you're going to put your notes in order, and you're going to prepare the specific words that you're going to say. So when you're in the middle of the speaking task, when you're in the middle of actually speaking, you don't get blank, or you just don't kind of forget what you were about to say. And do check the time. You have to check the time. You don't want to be caught in the middle of a sentence. You don't want to. Also, you don't want to stop before like the 15 seconds still going on. So you definitely want to check the time when speaking. Things you don't want to do: don't try to understand everything. Remember, this is again a principle that it's following through all the TOEFL. We do not need to understand everything. Of course, we need to understand something, but definitely not everything. We do not bring outside information. Remember, only the information in text exists. You do not bring outside information. The exception here is, of course, the first task, in which you're supposed to just give your opinion and bring outside information. We're going to see this in the following video when we see the question types. Don't leave unanswered questions. In this case, you no longer have multiple choice, so it's kind of more difficult to not leave unanswered question. I mean, before you just have to just guess. If you just guess between four choices, you at least have a 1 in 25 kind of chance of getting it right. But here is like you cannot guess because there are no alternatives, right? Still, don't leave an answer question, because even if you say things that are not completely, or they're not answering the question and they're not perfect, you're still giving an answer, okay? And it's better to give an answer than to provide nothing. Do not rely on your memory. I said this in the previous video for the listening too. Even if you have a very good memory, if you have a perfect memory, still don't rely on your memory, okay? Most of us humans don't really have a perfect memory, so most of us really cannot remember most things, and it's better to just take notes than to rely on your memory. And even if you do have a very good memory, you don't want to get your brain tired for the rest of the exam, okay? You just finish a very long reading section, and you just finish a very long listening section, and now you're in the speaking section, and there's also one more section to go. So even if you can, don't. Okay, and don't stop completely if you make a mistake. This is also important because this is speaking. Again, there are no multiple choices here. You're just speaking. So you may feel kind of the need to stop, or to stop completely when you notice that you say a wrong word, or you may freak out, like say, for example, right now, I keep pausing because I kind of go in a different direction every time I start talking. So don't do that. Don't say something like, oh no, I just made a mistake, and then you go down and you feel bad and you feel like you're wasting time. But don't do that, okay? If you made a mistake, if it's a very, very important mistake, just scratch it and start over. And if it's a tiny mistake, just pretend it didn't happen, okay? Like if you just say he instead of she, and you can correct that, okay, yes, correct it on the spot. But if you just notice that you made a mistake like 3 words ago, just forget about it and keep going. Just pretend it didn't happen. So, okay, but whatever you do, don't stop completely. How to take notes. Again, this is something that we cover in the listening section, but remember, we're going to copy as much information as you can. So as much information with as fewer words as possible. Okay, remember, we do not want to use full sentences or full words even, okay, because that's going to take too much time. Yes. Now, if we could kind of make a perfect transcript of everything, that will be definitely the best thing to have. Okay, the perfect transcript is what we're aiming for. Now, we cannot make a perfect transcript. Okay, so what we're going to try to do is to copy as much information as we can in as little time as possible. So we're going to use as fewer words as possible. So in order to do that, we're going to use abbreviations, use symbols, use initials, or use charts or drawings when we need them. Again, we're trying to avoid the full sentences. We try to avoid the full words, even though that sounds like the best thing to have. It's going to play against you about the time. So by the moment you're kind of copying the full sentence, the out is already in the next 3 sentences. So you already missed the information. And remember, it's only about the keywords, so you don't have to copy all the information, just copy the information that is important. Here's an example. Let's say the audio says something like, coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19 is a contagious disease caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2. The first case was identified in Wuhan, China in December 2019. It has since spread worldwide, leading to an ongoing pandemic. So what you don't want to do is just basically try to or aim to copy exactly the same thing. One, you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to copy exactly the same thing. And two, you're going to waste time trying. Okay. So what you're going to do, you're going to focus on the keywords. You're going to focus on not copying everything, but just the important things. So you're going to Corona 2019, contagious disease. I'm not even writing the full word disease. Acute respiratory symbol, respiratory. Again, I'm not even writing the full word respiratory. So first Wuhan, China, December 2019, war pandemic. So you see, I'm not even making full words, and I'm definitely not making full sentences. Okay, I'm just focusing on the important parts. A very important thing we want to do, we're going to try to avoid articles. We're going to avoid prepositions. We are basically also going to avoid articles and prepositions in general, and we're going to avoid certain verbs that are kind of obvious, like instead of has, spread, just write spread. Like we don't really need the perfect tenses in order to understand what it said. Okay. The general strategy we're going to follow, we are going to take notes while reading or listening. Remember to take notes in the previous way. And we're going to take notes, like, again, every single information that is provided needs to be written down in your notes, okay? We're going to read and listen to the question, and we're going to look for the keywords in the notes, okay? This changes from question to question. We're going to cover that in the following video, but this is kind of the general strategy that applies to everything. We're going to go to the specific part of the notes, and we're going to prepare order and vocabulary. Remember, in the preparation time that they give us, we prepare the order and vocabulary of the specific words we want to use. And we're going to be mindful of the time, which means we're going to see the time to know when to stop talking or when to not stop talking. Okay? The question types are the following. Again, we're going to develop this in the next video. The first is the independent task, is your opinion. The second is the integrated task, which is a reading plus a conversation, which is also an opinion, but it's not your opinion anymore. It's someone else's opinion. Okay, so this is the one I was telling you about. It's not your opinion, it's someone else's opinion. It's still an opinion, just not your opinion. The third is an integrated task that contains reading and a lecture. And the fourth is an integrated task that only contains a lecture. Okay, recommended material to study. Well, I do recommend you to watch the next video in which I develop the question types. But in general, I recommend you to just do full practice tests on YouTube, or do official practice tests if you have access to them. But you can just access the free material that you get on YouTube. You don't really need too much. And now, the speaking section kind of does require a tutor. Okay, kind of does require someone to check your audio. I have two advices for you. One of them is just get a tutor, or get someone, or maybe just a friend, to help you improve your audios. And a second, even if you don't find it, or you don't have the money, or you don't have a friend, practice recording yourself. I mean, you still do the full test, okay? Do the full practice test, the full speaking practice test, and record your answers, and then listen to your answers and try to find your own mistakes and try to correct and try to improve on your own. Okay. Again, the recommended tutor, I of course recommend myself as a tutor, but you can also find a comedian tutor online or near you. Remember, I do recommend that you feel comfortable with the lessons or with the tutor that you're working with, and also see that you're not wasting class time. So you shouldn't be with a tutor who's there to watch you do things that you could do on your own, and you definitely want to feel that you're improving. Okay, so another important thing is in the speaking section, since there's no metric or no official metric for, I got 30 correct and 30 or 1 incorrect, you need to get to know whether you're improving on the specific things. So every time you work with a tutor or with a friend or on your own, write down the specific things that you need improving and improve on them, and check whether you are actually improving through all the audios. That's it. I hope you like the video. Remember, in the next video, we're going to cover the question types for the question types and the specific strategy for the question types. Please like and subscribe, or share with whoever you think may need or have a good use for these videos. And check also you can check the website in which you can find more material. Then that's it. See you next video. Bye.